Oh, you won't try that one again. You know, there's something really satisfying about killing someone through a smoke in this game. Just something about it makes you feel like a god. Hello everyone, my name's Chris, and welcome to another Valorant video thing. It's been a while since I've done one of these, mostly because of my old computer. Well, it sucked. But now with my new, powerful gaming computer, we can get back to punishing myself by playing this video game. Just kidding, I actually really do enjoy this video game, but like all video games I like, it's ruined by a god-awful player base.
30 seconons left.
God, is there fucking like...
the Fortnite star.
Whoa! Whoa! Holy shit! Let me see. Oh my god! Is there fucking like...
But besides that, we're gonna be doing another character video today. Remember that old Raze one that's kind of okay-ish? No? I can't blame you. The quality of that video is a little bit scuffed. But think of those old Russian Badger videos on Rainbow Six Siege operators. That's kind of the vibe I'm going for here. Except I'm not nearly as funny and don't have any friends. And what better character to start with than the character I've been vibing with nowadays? Brimstone, the bad boy tactician who's voiced by Stephen Blum, the same guy who voiced Tank Dempsey.
Squish! Ha! Back off, meat mouth!
Anyways, Brimstone, the lovable dad bod commander, is the most basic, beginner-friendly, very simple character that you would not expect a movement freak like me to enjoy. However, in the wasteland that is Valorant matchmaking, unless you are queuing with friends that are competent enough to understand the game, you can't expect anyone to do anything right. And it's nice to play a character that can cover most fundamentals of the game, mainly map control. Brim can do most of these things, with powerful smokes that are easy to place exactly where you want them, and Molotovs to clear out positions or stall a choke. The only thing Brimstone is missing is a flashbang. And sure, that does suck, but one of your insta-lock duelists will usually enter the site first and act as a distraction, so that area is pretty much covered. Thanks guys. But as a well-balanced, all-around solid character, Brimstone is my first recommendation to any new players. It will teach you how to play the game properly, and how the game should be played in the first place. Not as a crazy movement aim game, but as a well-paced tactical ability shooter. As much as I love movement games, I don't play Valorant for that. If I want that, I play TF2 and Apex. I play Valorant for its tactical pacing and fun abilities, as outlandish as that sounds. And Brimstone is the best introduction to that flow. A penis. Let's start with his smokes, the most basic to use. They are his signature ability, meaning that you get one free every round. You can purchase 2 additional ones for 100 credits each, but note that if you don't use them, you'll still have them for next round, so don't feel entirely forced to. Pressing E will pull up a map of your surrounding area. This map is entirely dependent on your position, so make sure you get close enough to the bomb site so you can smoke off all the important angles. All you gotta do is click where you want the smoke to go. The circle represents the bubble the smoke will make, and when all of them are ready to go, right click to fire them off. They have a short delay before deployed and have a distinct sound when being deployed, so you can't really use these things by surprise, and the short delay means you have to wait a bit before an angle is safe to peek. Then again, that's kind of how most smokes work in this game, so just keep that in mind. Technicals aside, the big question you're faced with is, where do I smoke? And this is a question that's pretty deep, as there's many different combinations based on which map you're playing, which site you're taking, and even your team composition. So I'll try and start with the basics and give you a baseline understanding of them, and hopefully you'll improve and explore new options. On attack, your smokes have one main use: block off angles. It's imperative to any site take that you smoke off key defender positions, thus allowing your team to take site, get the bomb down, and prepare for a retake. Let's take Havens, a site for example, a classic. How do you smoke this site off? Well, when you smoke any site off, you want to think about where people are going to be standing, where they're going to be holding. Good example, someone's always going to be holding up window. It's a very strong position. You can peek long, you can peek short, you can fall back really safely and play over here in the connector. Very strong position. You're always going to want to smoke this off unless for some reason either they're on an eco or you just know that they're not playing this position. Where else do you smoke off? Connector. Very strong position for someone holding short. Very hard to deal with. They can't get flashed. They can hold this and are really safe here. One last position that I usually smoke off is this one over here. It's kind of hard to deal with. If you flash it, they don't really have anywhere to go. If you molly it, they don't really have anywhere to go. But if your team isn't competent enough and you're trying to push long, they're going to pick you off. It's a very strong position. So what I usually smoke is when I usually actually stand in this corner right here. I smoke off tower, I smoke off connector, and I smoke off this cross here, which blocks off this and anyone who happens to be standing short. Very good smokes and make for a really easy site take. I mean, all you got to worry about is this corner here, which you can pretty easily molly off. That was a terrible molly. Very easily molly off, or maybe this angle, which can easily be flashed or, just dealt with naturally. Or if someone is smart enough to be playing box, this can be kind of a difficulty to deal with, but they can get wall banged. They don't really have anywhere to go. And if they're getting pushed from both directions, they're just going to get pinched, and it's a pretty easy site take overall. These angles differ on every map, and it's going to take a couple of rounds before you know the spots people are going to be playing. Don't worry, Rome wasn't built in a day. Take your time and properly learn your smokes, and you'll be more knowledgeable than your average Valorant player. On defense, however, these smokes are used a little bit differently. Sure, it's strong to save your smokes for a potential retake, and having one or two can be a game changer. It can also be quite strong to use a smoke in an area you know an enemy is going to push. Running out of a smoke raw is a death sentence, so if you can hear a rush coming, don't be afraid to put a smoke in the choke and get a free pick on the Reyna who thinks they can out-aim everyone, even though they most likely can't. There's so many smurfs in this game. Smokes can also be used to contest ultimate orbs at the start of a round, add cover to the bomb for a clutch defuse, or to troll your teammates. But then again, can't any character do that? Point is, Brimstone smokes are versatile and important, and it's imperative that you take the time to learn to use them properly. Don't be like the duelist hive mind. There is more to this game than running in and shooting and dying. Brimstone's second ability is his Molotov. Costing 250 credits and only having one charge, it's key that you don't waste this ability. You only get one shot with it. Pressing Q will pull out the launcher, and you can fire it just like a normal gun. Note that the grenade doesn't go in a straight line and will bounce a bit before detonating, so don't aim directly where you want it to go. Aim a bit high up to accommodate for the drop, and try and bounce it off corners and ceilings to get the nade where you need it to go. Note that the fire the grenade leaves hurts like a bitch to both the enemies and your teammates. You want to avoid this thing, and so do the enemies. The most practical use for this is to clear out key positions you can't really clear with a smoke. Popular corners are my favorite, as it's essentially a free pick if they can't escape with movement abilities.
Last player standing.
Bro, he fucking murked me!
One enemy remaining.
Woo! Last bullet! You can also use it to deny areas just like a smoke. Pushing through the Molotov is not really advised, as you still take a hefty amount of damage, leaving you vulnerable to most weapons in the game. It can also be used to deny a bomb defusal. You can't Olaf your way through this one. If there's a molly on the bomb, you've essentially delayed the enemies an additional 3 to 5 seconds, which can win you the round. You can further this by learning cross-map mollies, allowing you to Molotov the bomb from a safe distance away. This is very strong, allowing you to Molotov the bomb with practically no risk, almost always securing you the round. It's something I haven't really mastered myself, but is good to look into, seeing how potent it really is.
No, it does make it better because I haven't even spent over $100 on this game. I spent
Fair.
like less than $50 on this game.
Okay.
I'm a casual
Okay.
gamer, a casual spender.
There can be casual incels and casual
No,
children.
there
Yep.
can't. No, there's only competitive children.
Huh.
Reloading.
Interesting. I'll mark that one down.
Only comp children.
A flexible Molotov and fantastic smokes lead us to Brimstone's third, and in my opinion, least effective ability, Stim Shot. A purchasable throwable, costing 100 credits each and able to hold 2 charges. On paper, this ability seems downright broken. You throw down the pad thingy? I don't know exactly what to call this. Disc? I'm gonna call it a pad. Okay? Anyways, you throw down the pad and it creates an area of effect around it. Anyone who steps inside the pad will have the stimmed buff applied to them, increasing their fire rate noticeably. Seems pretty broken, right? Well, maybe with a ton of practice, but in my opinion, this ability seems to get me killed half the time, for one main reason. This isn't Call of Duty, it's Valorant, a game with complex recoil patterns. A higher fire rate throws off any muscle memory you have, and while this may be good on something like the Odin or the Judge, if you're an actual good player and use the Vandal and Phantom, it's gonna be harder for you to hit those juicy headshots. Once again, if you practice with this, it might be nuts, but in my opinion, this ability is practically useless. Well, not really. It does have a couple of good uses, the most notable being breaking sage walls. You can shred these things with one good stim shot, and is the most practical of uses. You can also use it to mass wallbang walls, and also to throw off your teammates' aim. But then again, would you?
Spike down mid.
I'm literally shitting.
And finally, the flashiest and most deadly ability of them all, Orbital Strike.
Open up the sky!
Oh my god.
A giant sky laser hell-bent on frying the enemy team. This is not an ability you'd want to stand in. It's actually quite the deceiving ability to use, as it's not as ultra powerful as you'd think. It works just like your smokes. You can pick exactly where it goes in the proximity around you, and upon clicking, it has a short period where it winds up before firing, marking the area of impact with a visible red circle and playing a distinct, loud noise, accompanied by Brimstone's ecstatic scream. The activation period gives ample time for enemies to clear out of the area, so if you're trying to use it as a surprise, I wouldn't. Unless you know where the enemies are playing, it's not very effective. The real way to use this thing is as a mass area clear, much like your Molotov, but with way more effectivity. An enemy backs up into a safe corner, nuke him out of existence. Enemies trying to push through a choke, give them the middle finger.
Open up the sky!
Have a position on a site that you know an enemy is going to be playing. Teach them a hard lesson about how much damage your ultimate does. This thing hits for 20 per tick with about 6 to 7 ticks per second, so most enemies will not be able to withstand in this thing for very long, unless they're a Reyna with their ability popped or something. You can also use this ability to nuke the bomb, just like a Molotov. It's a quick and effective way to secure the round. You can also just use it to nuke your teammates. You know what? Fuck it. Just start murdering your team. Screw this stupid tactical shooter bullshit. Just start murdering everyone for YouTube views.
I don't think.
Perfect. That's exactly what I needed for the video. This session's been a success.
Nah, dude, that was fucking
Overall, Brimstone is one of the most tactically sound agents in Valorant. With a well-rounded kit in all areas, he's the perfect agent to pick up the game and understand its fundamentals. Even for experienced players, he's the forefront of all good tactical strategies, and while there may be more complex and more interesting agents, this old dog still knows a few tricks.
At ease, soldier.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like. I'll be uploading more videos on stuff I like in the future, whether that's Valorant, TF2, or some other shit. If you'd like to be notified of those while also contributing to my internet ego, subscribe. And if you'd like to voice your opinion, either on something I missed or got wrong or how I'm downright fucking stupid, leave a comment down below and I'll be sure to look at it and probably forget to reply. I don't do that on purpose, by the way. I'm just kind of fucking stupid. And if there's nothing else, I hope you have a fantastic day.